Welcome to the Fit Vegan Podcast, the show where we help you optimize your health, fitness, and mindset on a whole food, plant-based lifestyle. My name is Maxime Sigouin. I am a former triathlete, powerlifter, bodybuilder, and basketball player, and I've been vegan for over 9 years. I'm also the founder and CEO of Fit Vegan Coaching, which has helped over 500 vegans from 20 different countries to completely transform their bodies and their health. I'm excited for you to hear today's episode. Let's get into the show. Today, I'm joined by a Fit Vegan superstar, Julie. Julie, how are you doing today?
Great. How are you, Maxim?
I'm doing good. Thank you. Very excited that we get to record and talk about how your journey went.
Yes, I'm excited too. I have a lot to talk about.
Good. Well, the first place I always like to start is I allow for the member to kind of introduce themselves a little bit and kind of say what they have going on a day-to-day basis, because a lot of people think that, you know, this is like a full-time process to be able to transform and eat healthier, when in reality, it only takes a small portion of your life, and it's about doing the intentional work. And so just a little introduction on like who you are, your background, and kind of what brought you to want to do the program originally.
Right. So, yeah, I think that it's a little different for me than a lot of the members because I'm a little bit older, which we have older members, but I'm not as busy as a lot of the members are. So I actually did have time to do this program, but I would have been able to do it anyway if I'd been working full time or whatever. That's one of the things I love about the program is that it's sustainable moving forward. It doesn't take over your life. But I did have time, and I had been whole food plant-based for a number of years because I'm interested in health and nutrition, and there are some health things in my family that were alarming. And so I'd been whole food plant-based since about 2014.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, for a while. So before it was like really popular, and but I was frustrated. I definitely had health as my main priority, but I was frustrated that I wasn't seeing the results that people talked about. I did lose a little weight sometimes, other times not. I really had problems maintaining my weight. So the weight just wasn't falling off me like people talk about, right? And there are a lot of different ways to eat whole food plant-based. You know, I've read all the books and I follow all the doctors, and I'm kind of a nutrition nerd. So I came at it a little differently, very frustrated with maintenance. Maintenance was eluding me. I was going up and down in my weight and really didn't know. Sometimes I would lose weight and I didn't really know what I was doing to lose it. And then I would gain weight. And I didn't know how to be steady. So I actually watched you on Chef AJ, and I was so fascinated by what you were saying because you were talking about eating a lot of protein, and you were talking about whole foods and not mock meats and a lot of powders and a lot of bars and things like that. So that was really interesting to me. And then you started talking about reverse diet. And that blew my mind. I'd never heard that before. I was super curious about it. And I like to learn, Maxim. So I thought, you know, I'm going to check out this program. I don't know if I believe that I can eat like that and lose weight. So let's just do an experiment and see. So I was about, I don't know, I thought I was about 5 pounds, 7. I'm not very big, so that's a lot for me over what I wanted to be. It turns out that I lost 10 pounds, which is great because I feel even better than I imagined. But yeah, that's why I came, and I was looking for something that I could move forward with that wasn't restriction, that wasn't counting, that wasn't taking, you know, hours and hours in the gym. Like, I'm at an age where I don't want to do that. I want to enjoy my life. You know, my kids are grown. I've got my first grandchild. And so I don't want it to take over my life. So that's what I was looking for. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate sharing that. I didn't know all of that before you came in. So that makes me really happy, because you're right. There is a lot of information out there. You can, like, people say eating whole food, plant-based, but there's so many different ways of doing it. There's so many different school of thoughts and how to approach it. And I can definitely relate to the frustration of, you're doing something and then you're losing weight, but you're not too sure, like, what's the reason why you're losing the weight? And then you think you're doing everything well, and then you put on weight and you're like, I thought I was doing everything well. Like, what is happening right now?
Yeah. And I felt restricted, to be honest with you. And I would have periods of time, because I was eating high carb, low fat. So, which a lot of people do. And it's really great for health and things like that. But there was a certain amount of, I wasn't satiated, or something was going on that would make me cheat. I'm going to say cheat. And every time, because I love tofu and edamame, and, you know, I'd like to have a little tahini dressing, and all those things are off limits if you're trying to lose weight on a high carb, low fat plan. And so then I would get to where I would go off my plan, and I felt deprived, and I would go off of it for weeks. Like, I still was eating vegan. I still was eating whole food, plant-based, but I kind of went over the top, almost binging. Like, I didn't eat like huge quantities at a time, like a typical binging scenario, but I would just get so off track for weeks, and then feel almost kind of like a petulant child that I had to get back on plan because I felt deprived, you know?
Yeah. Which is interesting, because from what you said, what you were doing and eating extra, you mentioned like tahini and tofu and edamame, like, that's not going off track in my book. Like, you're still eating good food. It's just not adhering to like a high carb, like specific, really low fat diet. I remember, like, when you first came in, like, I get updates from every member from the team of coaches. And I'm like, some people had to turn around a little bit on increasing a bit the fat intake, but there's so much freedom to that, because it is good for your hormones, and it is less restrictive, right? The way I talked about it on Chef AJ was, we're going to eat high carb and hit the protein that we need to hit. I never talked about fat, because it's not to be of a concern, but you don't have to put a limit on how much, you know, you would be eating. It starts to affect your other ratios if you eat more of it, but there's nothing wrong with it inherently.
Yeah, and I enjoy it so much more. I like eating this way. These are all the foods that I love. I don't feel like I'm dieting, and I could eat this way forever. Plus, I learned, you know, through months, I've been in the program for 6 months, and I lost every bit of weight and more in 3 months that I imagined. It was easy, and I was eating those foods that I thought were off limits. So it really does work, and it's awesome. Yeah, and so it actually worked, and I didn't feel deprived, and I learned a lot of things along the way, you know, that I really can eat like this and lose weight. I was a bit skeptical, because I didn't think it would work, but I wanted to try it, and it does work. And I was eating all those foods that I was restricting before, and I was losing weight. Like, it was amazing to me. Amazing. Yeah.
That makes me really happy to hear, simply because I've done a lot of these interviews with members of Crusher Transformation, and there's always a common theme of like, I didn't think it would work because it sounded too good to be true. Of like, you're gonna tell me I can eat this way and like lose the weight and like keep it off, and then once you actually go through it, you're like, oh, like I can do this. This is great. Now I can actually eat sustainably. And I think a part of it has to do with just diet culture of like, there needs to be an aspect of restriction, or else you're not doing it right. And then when something sounds like I can eat carbs, I can eat fats, I can eat protein, I can eat a lot of food, a lot of volume, and lose the weight and feel good, there's a hack. There's something there. Something has to be hard somewhere. There has to be an element of restriction somewhere. All right. And so happy that you were able to go through that.
But when you are restricting, that's when you can really go off plan in a big way because you're feeling deprived. And I'm not feeling deprived. My coach, Sarah, who's wonderful, she asked me, we were talking one day and I said, you know, because I had great success on this plan. And she said, what do you
Photos
think?
look great.
Yeah. She said, what do you think made you so successful? And I said, I didn't have any screw it moments like you talk about. I didn't have any times where I felt like I wanted to just throw up my hands and just eat everything. And I didn't feel that way because I was very satisfied with what I was eating. And plus, the great thing here is that you all teach us how to live. You know, I had life events come up, I had travel, I had restaurants, I had social situations, and, you know, you as coaches work through all that with us and teach us how to manage that. So I can go out to dinner. I can be social with my friends. I just had to learn how to adjust things and make it work. And so that's just freeing, you know?
Yeah, it is freeing. It is very empowering. And when you pull back a little bit and you think of it, it's just basically a reframing of what you thought was a rule that was needed for fat loss, right? A lot of times that you can't eat out and lose weight. You can't eat certain amounts of fat and lose weight. But it's simply a belief that was built over time by what we were told that's needed to happen for fat loss. And so I'm really happy that we were able to debunk these things with you and that you were able to change your belief system, and that like I can eat out, I can travel, I can enjoy a nice meal with my partner, I can eat an extra avocado if I want to and like still know that I'm on track.
Yes. Yeah. And not feel like I failed. Yeah. You know, I didn't fail the day. I decided to have some extra avocado. It's okay. Like, I know how to make that fit in my plan. And I also have gotten to the point where, I mean, I don't have the patience to count calories, don't want to spend my life doing that. So this was great because I got to eat on meal plans for a while, but I also got a lot of practice just eating with the guidelines. Kind of, you get to know what your plate should look like, and you get to know what your day should look like. I have a lot more variety in my food now than I did before. And I don't feel like I necessarily will have to be on meal plans, or like I learned a lot going forward how to live. And I'm pretty confident that I'm going to be able to do it. If I get off track a little bit, I know I can jump right back on a meal plan. I've got lots of them. I might need a couple of weeks of a reset, but I also was an overeater, Maxim. And I think some of that was because I wasn't satisfied with my meals. I don't think I knew that on a conscious level, but I was eating, you know, very low fat, and the food was delicious and I loved it. But I kept needing, like, I needed a second portion, or I needed a snack, or I needed whatever. And so it was really nice to work with a coach and figure out how much food should I really be eating, because my own signals are off, you know?
Yeah.
And so that's been really good because I don't overeat anymore. I don't like the feeling. I don't want to do that. If occasionally I do, I regret it. I'm not going to do it next time. So that was all a really great learning experience for me too, to kind of reset those cues. And I feel pretty confident going forward that I'm not going to make those mistakes anymore. Those things that sabotaged me, you know?
Yeah. Because now you got confirmation that these things work through your own transformation. And that's what I point out earlier, like your photos look great, right? Like there's a big shift in body comp. You can see it around your waist. You can see it on your legs. There's a big difference. You mentioned earlier, you came in a bit from a a bit doubtful, but here for like the education kind of, let's just test it out to see how it functions. So I'm curious, from being whole food plant-based since you mentioned 2012, so like almost 8-9 years now. What are the different things that you've learned that you're like, oh, this is why it didn't work before? Like those are the new things that now I know work. What are the key elements that kind of got clarified for you?
Well, I think we kind of talked a little bit about this, but I may not have said it clearly, like what wasn't working for me before is that I think my fat was so low that I wasn't satiated, and I felt like I couldn't have a life out. Like I couldn't really go to a restaurant, and I did sometimes, but I felt like I was sabotaging my plan or whatever.
Yeah.
So I learned that I can eat the foods that I love, and I can feel more satisfied. And I can go out to eat if I want. Like, I just kind of plan it. I'm not craving all that stuff anymore. I don't feel like I'm missing out. I'm eating the things that were an indulgence before. They're just part of my regular life now, which I love.
Yeah. So that's amazing. And so from a nutrition standpoint, how your approach had shifted a lot. I'm curious from a training standpoint, how has that shifted, and what are the benefits you saw from that?
The training's been fantastic because my training plan, I don't know how everybody's is, but my training plan is about 40 minutes, 5 days a week. So Monday through Friday, I have about a 40-minute workout. 4 of those are strength days, which I prefer. I am not a cardio girl. I hate it. So I only have one. I don't have to kill myself with cardio. I do walk quite a bit. Like, I know there are some rules for me that set me up for success, and getting 10,000 steps is one of them. So I do that every day that I can. I mean, there are occasional days, but I did have a history of working out with a trainer for like 3.5 years before I came into the program, and I had been gone from that for over a year. I really got burnout. She was a very good trainer, taught me a lot about form and exercise, but I got to the point where I don't want to spend my life working out 2 hours in the gym a couple days a week, killing myself and being so sore that I can't move or function the rest of the week, and doing that over and over. And I still wasn't even getting the results that I got now because my nutrition wasn't what it should be, so my workouts were really good, but I got to where I just I don't want to live my life this way. So the workout plan that I follow now is something that isn't a chore for me. I like to move. I like resistance training. I don't want to spend an hour in the gym. Like 40 minutes is a great number for me. And I can maintain and stay lean and toned in that amount of time. Like, that is not too big of a commitment for me. So that was an eye opener, because I thought I would have to do a lot more, to be honest.
Yeah, most people do. The training is really tailored to everyone. Like, some people want an hour in the gym, some people want 40 minutes. The amount of days varies per person and availability and what they want. But there is, again, that misconception of being in a gym for an hour and a half to 2 hours that you have to absolutely kill yourself in the gym to get amazing results. You don't. It's simply about efficient work. For me, it always makes me laugh when, you guys kind of share, I was training 2 hours in the gym before. I'm like, if you're training for the Olympics or to win a race of some sort, then maybe you need to train this hard. But if you just want to be in shape and feel good and feel strong and be lean, you definitely don't need to do that much. And a level of soreness that is debilitating is only there if like when I was competing for Ironman. Like it's normal. You're pushing yourself because you want to win. But if you just want to be in shape, you don't need to be so sore that you can't sit down on your chair without your butt hurting or you have a hard time climbing the stairs.
I know. I hated it when I would come home and like I couldn't get up off the toilet when I had to go to the bathroom.
Yeah. Hey, I've been there. I get it.
I know. So yeah, that just wasn't sustainable. Like I said, I'm a little older. I just want to be toned and lean and healthy. And I want to keep up with, I have a grandbaby that's about to turn 1. He's the first one.
Oh, awesome.
I want to keep up with him. I want to be active. I want to be healthy. And the vanity part of me, I want to look good in my clothes, which by the way,
of course,
I have to buy a whole new wardrobe now because that's
a good problem.
Yeah. Yeah. And I only lost just shy of 10 pounds, but it made a huge difference in my clothes. Huge.
Yeah. Well, your body composition shifted. So you packed on some muscle, you lost some fat. So it does more of a change than most people think. And again, for 10 pounds, there's a drastic difference between your photos. So that's what happens when you do a proper shift in body composition. And, I get it. Getting a new wardrobe is a good problem to have. And it's a problem that every member has at one point. So I was brainstorming with my fiance, maybe we just come up with a fit vegan, stylist service for after their transformation.
That's a good thought, Maxim, because I've kind of been putting it off because I don't know where to start really. I need everything new, which is exciting and a great problem. But
yeah.
You
get to reinvent this new version of you.
I'm thrilled with the results. I wouldn't have believed that it would have happened like this because I didn't have a lot of weight to lose. I'm an older female, and it worked for me exactly as you portrayed it, and the program is just as good as you portrayed it. But I came out with even more things, like a confidence that I can sustain this, that if I have any bumps in the road, I've been educated enough that I can deal with that. I kind of know the things I need to do to keep myself on track. They're easy things for me. I'm not going to be counting calories, and I'm not going to be restricting, and I'm not going to be killing myself in the gym. And so I've just learned so much. It's been so valuable for me. Yeah.
Well, it makes me really happy to hear that. And I'm really proud of you for doing the work, because ultimately that's the reason you're there, is because of you, right? We were just there kind of nudging you in the right direction, making sure you're being efficient with your time, but you did all the hard work. Without you doing those squats, those push-ups and those exercises, your body wouldn't have transformed. I'm curious, what were the things that you think helped you out the most once you were in the program? Was it the community, the group calls, which you were often on? Was it the meal plan, the accountability? What were the key pieces that really helped you during your transformation?
Gosh, I mean, there were a lot. I did develop a really great relationship with Coach Sarah. That was a key piece. I came in skeptical, and it took me a couple of months to trust her. I did what she told me to do because I wasn't going to join the program and try to do what I always did, right? So I did what she told me to do, but I was skeptical and I didn't know if I could trust her, but I quickly gained a level of trust with her. And so that relationship with her was really, really beneficial for me because we worked a lot on mindset and, if I did gain a couple pounds, what am I so afraid of about that? And so there was a lot more to it than just giving me meal plans and workouts. So that was a really important thing. And then the community is really amazing. Like you have all kinds of support. I would say probably the group calls more than the chat for me. I love the chat, but as far as being supportive, the group calls were really great. You could see what people were dealing with. We also shared a lot of great ideas for how to deal with things. The coaches would give some presentations that were helpful. So yeah, group calls and then that relationship with my coach.
Oh, beautiful. Well, I know for Sarah really enjoyed working with you because I heard it for our coaches meeting. So I just wanted to let you know that. So one question I always ask for people is what made you like comfortable with working someone online? Because some people still have that apprehension of working with someone that they've never met in person. I would love for us to meet in person. I'm working on a few workshops for members of the Fit Vegan Tribe that you're going to be more than welcome to come to. But I'm curious, like what made you want to work with someone online where everything was included versus like a trainer you had before who was just focusing on training?
Well, you can get an in-person trainer, and I think that there's a lot of value in that, but it's really hard because the training community, they're not really on board with our way of eating. So yeah, I didn't feel like I could find the whole package in a personal relationship, someone that was here. And I don't know that I was completely sold on the online part of it until I got into it. It's funny because when I decided to do the call to talk about whether I wanted to do the program or not, my husband was encouraging me. He's like, well, just do the call and just see what they say. You're going to be disappointed, he said. So I was like, yeah, I mean, it can't be that great. It's online, right? But when I did the call and I got off of there and I talked to him about it that night, I was like, I wasn't disappointed. Like, I really think this program is the real deal. I will have access to my coach all the time by text, which is my preferred method of communication anyway. I will have a monthly call with her. I have access to her. So I wasn't too worried about the workout part of it because I had worked out with a trainer so much. I did feel comfortable that I knew form and exercises. But even if you didn't, you can send a video to your coach, or I would text my coach and say, hey, I don't think this exercise is working for me. And she'd get right back to me and change it or whatever. So I got more comfortable with the online format as I got in. It didn't take me long at all. I didn't miss having that person here. Like all my questions were answered. I had all the information I needed. I had full access to my coach. So yeah, it wasn't a problem at all. Good.
Well, again, it makes me happy to hear that there is that. I know sometimes it can be a barrier for people, but like you said, it's really hard to find someone that will do everything in one go, especially vegan and then especially whole food plant-based. Because there's some vegan people out there, but they're definitely not whole food plant-based. That's like the biggest differentiator.
I know. I didn't want to eat all the processed food and the whatever, but also back to the online thing, you also have access to your coach twice a week on group calls.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of face-to-face with your coach. Yeah. And actually access to all the coaches, because I had access to you and Nicole and
Yeah, so. You can always message us, you can text us, you have the group calls, you have the weekly check-in videos, you have the monthly call. There's a lot of touch points.
Yes.
Yeah. So I'm happy you enjoyed that. So one question for you is, if there's someone that's listening that is in the same position as you before you started, right? They've either been vegan or whole food plant-based for a long time. They've tried a lot of things. They've been physically active, but it just hasn't worked for them. What would you share with them now, being on the other side where you're now a fit vegan success story, which I don't think people think of once they start, but eventually you end up on the podcast and you're like, oh, I did it.
Yeah. Yeah, I never imagined I would be here, to be honest. I have some friends who are in the situation that I was in, and I have talked to at least one of them, and they're having trouble getting over, oh, I can't eat that much protein. I can't eat that much fat, but eating the way they are, they're plateaued for months and months and months. They're not making progress. And so what do you have to lose to just try something? It's not like you're eating animal products. It's not like you're eating processed food. It's all healthy food. It's just doing it a little differently than you have been used to doing it. So I would say just go for it. I mean, what do you have to lose? You can always say it's not for me, or I don't like it, or whatever, but I would challenge those people to have an open mind and to give it a try, because for me, I'm never going back. So
yeah, it makes me happy to hear that. I always like to say we have 100% success rate for people that follow the plan. We've never had someone follow the plan and not get the results that they wanted to. And actually, if you follow 100% of the plan, you get better results than what you came in for. If you follow 80 to 90% of it, you hit what you came in for. And then below that starts to get lower. But at 80, 90%, you get what you came in for. You followed it like really closely to perfection. And that's why you lost like over what you came in for. And now you're feeling so good.
Yeah, and I did that, Maxim, because like I said, it was somewhat of a little bit of a science experiment on myself. And I knew that if I didn't follow the plan, then I wouldn't ever know. Like, I really wanted to know how my body would react. And I have so much more knowledge of how my body works. I feel confident that I know what levels I need to be at to lose weight, and I can. I know what levels I need to be at to maintain weight, and I can. It was all just a shot in the dark before,
Yeah. You seem like a very analytical, data-driven person from your answers. So yeah, if you didn't give it your all, then the data wouldn't have been accurate for you to make a proper decision. And now that you've experimented with those different realms, you have clear feedback of like, okay, I don't need to train that much if I want to lose weight. Okay, I only need to do this if I want to maintain. So I'm curious, like, what's the next step for you now that you've graduated from the program? I think last week was your last week, or is it this week?
No, it's Sunday is my last day. I have just like 3 more days. I'm kind of sad about that. I'm going to miss everybody, but I'm well equipped to go out into the wild.
Yeah, you'll always be in the loop of everything we're doing. You'll always be a part of the family. Yeah. But I'm curious, like, what's the next step for you? Is it like you want to maintain? Is there you want to do something different after?
So yeah, I've been thinking about that. I am going to spend some time maintaining. Actually, Sarah and I were talking about, I'm not sure that I'm quite at my maintenance calories. I'm still losing a little bit of weight. So we came up with a plan together. I'm going to wait a couple more weeks. I'm going to adjust my calories. Because maintenance has eluded me so much, I am going to focus on getting really good at that over the next 6 months. And then just see, I'm always liking to change it up. I like to set goals and things like that. And I might do just a little bit of a cut and a little bit of a muscle build just to see what happens. But right now, my focus is going to be on just living, maintaining, and let's just see, if I can get the hang of that, which I think I can. So
yeah, very confident you can. So basically, like finishing the reverse dieting, and then maintenance, I would for sure do at least 6 months. 6 months to even a year, simply because kind of what you shared before, that you've lost weight, you've gained weight, and there's always kind of like that energy of attempt at losing fat. And when that happens, it means that you're putting yourself in a constant state of calorie deficit, right? Yeah. And every time your body's in a calorie deficit, it's stressful in the body. There's less vitamins and nutrients coming in because you're eating technically less food, right? And so it's very beneficial for the body to stay out of a deficit for like 6 months to a year, or even, longer, depending on what the next goal is. But just give your body a rest from that stress of being in an energy deficit. I promise you, your energy will just keep going up and up and up, and you'll feel even better. You'll feel even stronger. Your body's going to change even more while being at maintenance.
Yeah. And I also have a workout plan, Yeah. Sarah and I have talked about that. She has equipped me very well to move on my own. I've got a plan. I feel comfortable with it. It's doable. I like group fitness, so I'm going to go back to Orange Theory just 2 days a week because I really enjoy it. And then I've got my own supplemental things to do the other 3 days. And yeah, I just need more practice at maintenance. So that's what I'm going to do.
Yeah, good. It's a lifelong habit that you want to keep practicing, right? And it never gets easier. You just get better at doing it because life will, as you know, will throw you different obstacles. For example, this podcast, I think we rescheduled it 3 times. I had some stuff, you had some stuff with your car, and then I think there's a leak, and then now we're here.
Yes, my kitchen flooded the first day we were supposed to do it, which doesn't sound like a big deal, except that we live in a condo. So that meant that my neighbor below me flooded, which was a big deal. So yeah, I was a little stressed out that day.
Yeah. And so life's going to throw obstacles, and we just need to be able to roll with the punches. And so I just want to say, Julie, that I'm really proud of you for doing all that hard work, for coming in and actually committing and trusting the process. That's huge. And that's why you got the results that you got. And so I just want to applaud you for that. I know Sarah had a blast working with you. And I just wanted to kind of leave the floor if there's any last thing you wanted to share, words of wisdom for the people listening, for the members of the tribe that are listening.
Yeah. You know what? Follow the plan. It works. I followed it closely. Like you said, it works, and it's worth it. But I do want to say thank you to you and the other coaches, because I think you all have your hearts in the right place. You all have the heart of a teacher, and your goal is for all of us to succeed and go on and not need you. And I think you do that really, really well. I think the design of the program and the intent behind it is just so pure in intention that it's a breath of fresh air. So.
Oh, thank you. I really appreciate that. We definitely want every single one of you to succeed. I've shared this multiple times. Members not following the plan is my biggest stressor in life because I want everyone to succeed. And yeah, I do want to make this the last program people ever have to do, because like you said, from 2012 to now, it's kind of, you've been playing around. I'm like, hey, 6 months solved, and then just focus on something else with that energy that would have went into fat loss, right? And so I just want to solve the problem for people, and then just enjoy your life. You have the body you want, you have the energy, great, go focus on something else.
Yeah. And the time is going to pass whether you stay on plan or not. So why not just stay on plan and make it productive? Set aside whatever is throwing you off plan and just make it the biggest priority for now. It doesn't have to take up that much space in your mental, capacity forever. But for now, give it your all, because you won't regret that ever. You will look back and regret that you spent 3 months and didn't follow the plan well, but do it. Just follow the plan. It works. You'll never regret that.
Yeah. Those are good words of wisdom. I appreciate you sharing that.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, Julie, I just want to say a big thank you for taking the time to jump on the podcast. I'm happy we're able to make it happen. Yeah. And again, just very proud of you. Good luck on your last 3 days on the program. It's easy peasy at this point. you made a good game plan with Sarah, so very comfortable with, you moving forward. And if ever you need anything, we're always there for you.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I know it's a community that, I'll always have. So we're all hooking up on Instagram and keeping in touch. And I've made some good friends here.
Good. Oh, awesome. It makes me happy to hear that. And I will keep you updated on any events or things that we do. You and your partner will be more than welcome to come.
Awesome. Yeah, my husband's ready to lose some weight now too. So,
well, you know who needs to talk to.
I know for sure. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, Julie, thank you very much for jumping on the show. And for everyone listening, if you want some more information on the process that Julie went through and that initial call that she mentioned, there's a link down below where you guys can book your free consultation call, have a conversation with myself or our Fit Vegan goal setting coach, Kyle, and we'd love to help you. So thank you everyone for listening. And Julie, thank you very much for jumping.
Thank you, Maxim.